In today's video, we are going to be talking about what happens in skeletal muscle fibers after calcium ions are released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. So first, I'm going to start off with one diagram by discussing what happens before they're released, and then I'll move on to the next one, which is talking about what happens after the release. So first, we're going to start off with this one, and there's an electrical signal, and it's going to travel across the sarcolemma and then down the T-tubules, and on both sides of the T-tubules, you're going to notice we have what is called the sarcoplasmic reticulum. The sarcoplasmic reticulum is where calcium ions are stored, and I have that labeled in there. There's all those calcium ions. And then when that electrical signal moves down the T-tubules, it causes calcium channels to open, which is how calcium ions are released from that reticulum. And you can see when they open, they're going to flow out and they're released. So when they end up in the sarcoplasm, it's going to allow a muscle contraction to happen. So now we're going to talk about what happens after the release for that contraction to occur. So after the release, calcium ions are going to bind to what is called troponin, and then it's going to shift tropomyosin's position, which exposes the actin binding sites, and we're going to call that TNT. It's just a little easier. And then this diagram, which was also in the PowerPoint, it helped me a lot, so I used it just because I don't really understand anything else. So the myosin heads use ATP, and they bind to actin to form a cross bridge. And in that cross-bridge cycling process, which is this, after myosin binds to actin, the power stroke will occur. So right here we had the formation of the binding, and then this is where the power stroke starts. The power stroke, it occurs when ADP and phosphate are released and the myosin head bends, which will convert it to low energy formation. And then next we have the detachment, the cross-bridge detachment. And that's where actin's dropped and a new ATP molecule attaches to the myosin. And then last is the cocking of the myosin head. In this step, ATP is hydrolyzed to ADP and phosphate, and the myosin head is going to return back to that high energy state. And this cross bridge cycling creates a muscle contraction, and the sarcomere shortens.